I'm Chad with Move for a Guitar. This lesson is from our series Guitar Chords. This lesson is part 2 from a little series that I put together on how to play a movable minor 7th chord. In the first lesson I showed you how to play the chord and explained it, and if you haven't watched that lesson yet you can click the link on the screen and watch that. In this lesson I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that you can use to really spice this chord up and make it more interesting. Now I'm just going to give you some tricks on what you can do with this chord. And there's some really cool things you can do with it, and I did a little bit when I demoed at the intro of this video. The one thing you can do is, since you're barring with your first finger in the 5th fret, you can remove your 2nd and your 3rd finger. So remove it like that, and then hammer on back onto those notes, so you get a sound like this. So you hit the chord with your 2nd and 3rd finger removed, which is that sound, and then you hammer those 2 notes on to get that sound, and then you can do different things with it. You know, you can do any type of rhythm with it, so it creates this really cool sound where you're playing the chord like this and then hammering those 2 notes on. And that's something really common to do and really useful. Another thing you could do is add in your 4th finger onto the 2nd string 8th fret, so you could get this sound. So here's without, here's with. You could do something like that. You could add it on the 1st string 8th fret. You could go from the regular D minor bar chord to the minor 7th just by adding your 4th finger in and on and off of the 3rd string. You could also add or remove your 2nd finger from the 2nd string 6th fret, so you could remove it, catch that note. So we could go even from adding our 4th finger like we did down to the normal minor 7 chord, and then removing our 2nd finger, then putting it back and doing any type of rhythm with that. And one other trick is something that I actually did in the intro when I was demoing this chord over the jam track, and that's what's called sliding 6. So I was actually taking 2 of the notes from this chord and sliding it up a whole step while muting out the rest of the strings. So the 2 notes I was sliding were my 3rd finger on the 4th string 7th fret, and then my 2nd finger on this 2nd string 6th fret. So I was taking those 2 notes, which are part of this D minor 7 chord, and then I was releasing the pressure from my bar. So my bar's just laying on top of these strings now, but not pushing down anymore. And that way I can mute out all the strings except the 2 that I'm fretting right here. So you'd hear this. You're only hearing what's under my 3rd finger and my 2nd finger. Everything else sounds like this. So by doing that, I can slide up with these 2 fingers 1 whole step, keeping the same shape. So my 3rd finger is now on the 9th fret and my 2nd finger is on the 8th fret. And you can slide back. And I was doing something like, and you can do any type of rhythm with it. You can go. Doesn't really matter. It's just using those 2 notes to slide up a whole step and then back. You can add a really cool sound. And this will be the hardest trick to do, because having to mute out the other strings and slide these two, fretting those and keeping the other strings from ringing out, is pretty difficult at first unless you're used to it. So you're just going to have to really work on that. Muting everything with your first finger except the two notes that your second and third finger are fretting. So just make sure that you don't hold the whole chord while you're sliding, or it would sound like this. And that doesn't sound the same, so you just need to slide these two notes. So those are some tips and tricks on how to spice this chord up and make it more interesting. You can click the link on the screen and download the chart that goes along with this that will give some extra information, and it'll just all be visual for you. And it also includes the jam track that I played along with at the beginning of this video. So you can click the link on the screen and go download those for free if you would like. Also, be sure to subscribe because we add at least one new lesson every day.